So, Reuven, further to what you just said about the importance of going to mikveh, in addition for it to be group therapy, my son-in-law, number of years ago, took a group of birthright students, Russian guys, hardcore guys, to Eretz Yisrael. There was one, and village V on the trip, encouraged them to put out film here and there. One particular fellow was so stubborn, he wouldn't, anything that had to do with Yiddishkeit, he was fighting. Tefillin is out of the question. Anyway, it was middle of summer, it was a hot day, and Tzfas Baran Tiberi is part of the trip. So they were in Baran, in Tzfas, and they go into the Kvarim in Tzfas, and my son-in-law tells them, no, by the way, guys, it's a hot day. There is a very refreshing course right over here. We can jump into the mikveh of the Arizal's mikveh. If anybody wants to join, I'm going. Says, I'm not going to, obviously it would be very refreshing because it was really hot, but that's not the reason why we're going. Anyway, the guys liked the idea. They went. This guy came along and he went into the mikveh. After he came out to the mikveh, comes over to my son-in-law. Can I put on tefillin? Simple as that. The droshes, all the droshes, everything he wanted. He pushed it, mikveh mitayr, the Arizal's mikveh mitayr, and he came over on his own. I would like to put on tefillin. So all we need is ma mikveh Yisrael b'tayr. We need the ultimate. We need the Zarakta Alechem Aim Tohirim, and to come into the Beis Hamikdash already. So what's on the agenda for today?
Okay, to make a bit of therapy, group therapy for us.
Part of this is Monday afternoon, 2:00. That's group therapy.
Yeah. Let me share something that I introduced to my by the Mashiach Suda to my crowd that was there. It was a very Geshmak Mashiach Suda, other than we were expecting and hoping that we would have the Esgalus B'Shas Ma'aseh. But I shared a certain thing that I thought was people really liked it, and I created a very undeveloped sign-up type of a sheet for this. But I think if we work on it, and maybe some of the guys over here can get on and get it a little more sophisticated, it can be a very, very, very good thing. I was talking about the idea that Mitzad Echad, the Rebbe wants, because the Rebbe
You have a bad connection, Louis.
Over to us, at times we become too caught up in that we have to be Mashiach. In other words, oh, you hear me now? Now it's a little better, probably. I was just going through. Is this better?
A bissel.
Am I a little better now?
A little better, yes.
Okay, I guess someone else. If you don't hear me, I'll talk soon. I'm just might get if I'm not. I'm driving, but it's not. I'm not driving, but I'm in the car. Are we better now?
Yeah, it's a little better now.
Okay. No. So I was bringing out 2 points by the Mashiach. So these were my 2 main points. Number one, Tzad Echad. When we think, a lot of people, if you think that Rebbe put it on us, we forget that there's Taka is a Mashiach who's v'nachal of ruach havaya, ruach this, and he's going to have the power to change even the animals and even the toimim and even the tzameach, and it's going to transform 8 billion people on the planet. So when we think that we have to become Mashiach to get Yidden and become a Heilige Yidden and completely on a whole different mode of apparatus, become a complete different Metzias, we have to realize that in other words, a Yid shouldn't fall into despair just because you feel you can't do it yourself. Part of the avoid is to have a munah that's vetkumen a Yid, and their Yid vet oifeim into the herzen and transform us and make us into what we need to be in that godly state. Sometimes the burden of Chav Ches Nisan that the Rebbe is giving it over to us could be taken too strong to a point that it just leads a person to complete despair and lot up from ganz Mashiach and Yad. I feel like after Chav Ches Nisan, there was two groups in Lubavitch. One group took it that, all we need to do, Tak, is make announce the Rebbe's Mashiach, the Mevatel and the Mekabel Malchus. I'm not getting into the legitimacy of any argument. The other group said, that we need to be Mashiach. The Rebbe's giving it over to us, and we need. And Taka and the second group that felt more that the responsibility is on us to actually change the entire world and to make it all. A lot of people just disassociated from the whole Mashiach idea because it's too much of a load. I think it's important to have the balance and the understanding. Ever in all of history. And that power is, and we know that it's here and it's about to explode and it's about to take over the entire world. And then he's talking going to fix every problem and every broken heart and transform and melt every Yetzer Hara and all of the inyanim. And that a yid always has to believe in and hope in and know that it's happening. But Tzad Sheni, we have to put our little finger into cold water as well. And as the Rebbe says, Tut alt was ihr kennt along with me. Now, on the second department of doing alt was meken along with me, I made a suggestion for people because the Rebbe wanted that we should start living Mashiach. So just the thought about living Mashiach had a little idea, similar to what we were doing with that booklet, is to teach people and to make, to give all these various different ways of being able to live in everything that we do with the Mashiach mindset. But in addition to that, I think it would be very helpful if we can set, similar to what it says in Tanya yesterday, that when you do a short willingness blindness for a few minutes a day, and then that is blindness impacts us for the entire time. So the thought I had was that if you create what's called the Mashiach moment, and what's the Mashiach moment? The Mashiach moment, everybody picks a certain amount of time a day. I would recommend that it don't be too long. It can be anywhere from 30 seconds, a minute, to 5 minutes. And basically, this is you are stepping out of Golus and you're entering into Mashiach space and time. In these 5 minutes, and you're making a mental statement in your head. I am entering into. Walter Rebbe says that Yemois Mashiach is here already. Everything is here already. I can't live in that reality. I'm not ready yet to live in that reality completely 24/7. But at least for the short period, if you're courageous and want to do a half an hour, it's a half an hour. You start, I would suggest someone like 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. And what you're doing those 5 minutes can be so many different things. It can be every day different. It can be one day Limud Torah, but in a way, you do Limud Torah now also, but a way like you're going to be learning Torah after Mashiach comes. You're setting your mind up. I don't have a shum daig in the world. Shutting my phone, I'm shutting everything. I'm in a state where I know that I don't have a worry in the world. Garnished. The cup and Limud Torah, maybe it's only 5 minutes. But these 5 minutes, I'm totally there in my entire being. Maybe if I'm learning Torah, I'm learning Inyan Kol Mashiach. I'm losing myself into it completely. Or in this 5 minutes, I'm gonna sing to the Eibishter. I'm gonna say Kapitel Dil, not davening for Mashiach. That's like I'm outside. I'm gonna say Baruch Nafshi, and I'm gonna praise the Eibishter like I would sing to the Eibishter after Mashiach comes. See Elokus and everything, and say the psukim over there of Halal and Ashida to the Eibishter. And that's a way. These 5 minutes, I will do an act of chesed in a way that I would do, obviously, Yisrael the way I would do after Mashiach comes. I was saying, what happens if I set 8 o'clock in the morning for my Mashiach time? Let's say it's good to set a kviyas. If you miss the kviyas, okay, so you'll grab those 5 minutes another time of the day. It would be best to set it up in the morning or whatever it is. But let's say you happen to be, if you set it up for a time, and let's say you're on the chves. For me, for instance, I don't have a harder time with miftzayim. If I hear 2 Israeli talkings, I'll ask them. But to go around and ask people if they're Jewish, for me, it's a big. I'm uncomfortable doing that. But if, let's say, I'm on the plane and it's 5, then time. So after, I know that in Mashiach's times, I don't have to be stuck up with my stupid fears and my stupid discomforts. Now there's only my nefesh elokis, only my shlichus. and I'm going to ask people if they're Jewish. I'm going to put with a yitfilin and so on and so forth. So whatever it is that you feel, it can be either a challenging inyan that you till now are afraid to do, and now you're going to do it. Reaching out to someone that you got into an argument with, and it's a few years or a few months, and it's hurting you, but you don't have the courage to do it. So now it's in your Mashiach time. The Yetzer Hara is melted. The inhibitions are not there. Make it happen. Either in that way, where you're breaking things that till now you were always afraid to do and you do it, or no, dafka things that you do have a geschmack in. Dafka things that in Yonim and Yiddishkeit that you do have but you don't have an ability to immerse yourself completely in it because of the hurav of time and because of Al and Yonim. Do these in Yonim as you're going to do them after Mashiach comes. And my suggestion was, take a small little slot of time. Again, make it a kviyas, if it's 3 minutes or 5 minutes a day. And then 30 days later, I said I'm starting yesterday, and I 30 days later, let's say Chav Gimel Iyar, make an increase. It can be 30 seconds more, it can be a minute more. And every month, after 30 days of that exercise, add another minute or add another 5 minutes, whatever it is. Increase that Mashiach space. Automatically, if you're living in a Mashiach zone for 5 minutes a day, 6 minutes a day, if you do it the whole year and you added another minute, you have 11 minutes by the time that you're living in Mashiach zone. It will have a huge impact on the rest of the day as well, because you know that you can enter into that space. That was the thought I had. I had someone in the community volunteer to create a document, and then it was my daughter-in-law who made it. We created a Google Doc sheet, and in that Google Doc sheet, a person can add their name. You don't have to add your time, everybody's own business, and you check it off every day or once a week. You can come, and I didn't get yet that tech element of being able to go once a week and check it off, and it'll check off all 7 days. But imagine if we created teams, and not teams. You create this doc and then starts off with 10, 15 people, 20 people, 30 people, 100 people. Everybody can do it local with their community, or we can do it with locally, or we can all share one doc and have thousands of people, joining, getting on, and doing this Mashiach, living in Mashiach space and time for a short few minutes every day. It was niskabel by a lot of people. I have to go back to the doc and see if people started actually signing on. I don't know, but people said they're going to, and that was just a thought. So if I can, am I being heard? Because I see Zush is talking in the phone.
Zush is on mute, but yes.
Okay.
You heard.
Okay, yeah, okay. So today, for instance, today and yesterday, what I did, I still didn't figure it out. I think there should be different avenues for myself or whatever, for everybody. We should give, I'm planning to make a video about it just to give people the idea. But for instance, today and yesterday, I took those 5 minutes. I gave off how much time I was starting with. I thought 5 minutes would be nice for me to start with. And I took those 5 minutes and I decided to learn about Mashiach and immerse myself in it. And I was learning Maral. So I just found something so special, because we as Minatzchim, and we over here, we deal with a lot of ups and a lot of downs. If you throw yourself into working with Mashiach and bringing the Geula, obviously becomes Chodesh Nisan. And I think, we have predecessors, obviously, the Rebbe himself, you saw the frustration as Nisan came to a conclusion, Tafshin and Aleph, and the Geula wasn't here. So it's understandable that there's going to be, if you're expecting immediate Isgalus of Mashiach and it doesn't happen, especially if you're putting work into it, it can be very disheartening. So I think sometimes we need to, remember the awesomeness and the craziness of the fact that of the schus that we have on what project we're involved with, like the projects of all projects. So I came across in the Maral such a beautiful line He says it's a Perek Lamed Vav and Sefer and Netzach Yisrael. So he says over here when the Gemara says in Masechtas Sanhedrin, if the Tanoim, if the Amoraim wanted to see Mashiach or not, Ula said, Yesei v'lo yachmanei. Ula said, I don't want to let him come. I don't want to be there. I don't want to see him because it's just the horrors of what's going to go on before that is too much. The pain that it's going to involve. So then Rabbi Yosef says, Amar Yesei, let him come. The Eske, I should be Zoicha, the Esev, and I will sit Betula in the shade or in the shadow of the Chafisa, the Chamrei, of the what protrudes out of his donkey. Okay, so you got Mashiach. Mashiach is coming on a donkey. I guess the Chafuse means the saddle that's protruding out, or sometimes a donkey is carrying a load, so it has certain, protrusion of like the thing. And I should sit under the shade of that. So the Maral explains, what does it mean? Such beautiful words. He says, Pidish Dasar of Yosef Shama Yesei V'Achmine the Eishiv B'Tzeil. I didn't even know I didn't know what the Targum is. I didn't have a Gemara with me to check up the Rashi or I'll admit the Art Scroll translation, but he translates it himself over here, the Maral. The Eishiv B'Tzeil Yitzias HaChamor Shaloi. And explains, Ki Olam Hazeh Gashmi B'Yoser. This world is very Gashmi. V'Olam HaMashiach Hu Nivdal B'Yoser. Mashiach is going to be such a ruchniistic, it's a Gashmiistic world, but it's going to be so unbelievably, elevated. V'Amar, and he said, She'im loy efshali liyos im HaMashiach. If I'm not able to be with Mashiach, and to join him in his heights, on his highest things, then definitely a person is going to be in a godly maila. I will be at the epitome of distance of Mashiach. I won't be mishtatif in the hechere in Yonam of Mashiach. I'm gonna be mishtatif. I'm gonna have a little bit of a shit of even in the lowest element. Even in the most physical element of Mashiach, I'm going to have a percentage status. And I'm not even going to have an attachment in the chomer of Mashiach. Like it was unhalten sich Rebbe's klamke, like holding on to what's coming out of the chomer of that. If so if we're thinking about this, that's Soif Kol Soif. We over here, this group, and all of us, where we are who we are. We have our own hang-ups and whatever all the other Inyanim. But Soif Kol Soif, we're Oisik and Avodah that sadly has been neglected, and Baruch Hashem, we're plowing away. In many ways, upgrading what has been done for Mashiach and not been done rather in a long time, and how Baruch Hashem there's so much more action coming as a result of these weekly meetings and so on and so forth, and the fact that we can have Pesach shaychus and the shaychus of the shaychus, even if it's the most. Talk about Rabbi Yosef saying, even if I can just be there in the shadow of the donkey of the saddle, I think it means of the donkey that's sticking out, is meroichas chus. And this is after Ula that is saying that the time is going to be such a troublesome time that I don't even want to be there. So I thought this was very, very meaningful. All right.
Where is this Maral?
This is in Netzach Yisrael.
Who?
In Perek Lamed Vav. And that B'chlal is a Geschmack. Perek Lamed Hey, Lamed Vav. If you want to see a description of the ganze Weltheint, it's mamish description, because he's going through the whole idea of the old world having to completely disintegrate for a new world to emerge. And he goes through it by Arichus. And in every aspect of the world becoming so, like today we see every system is gone. Alles. There's no government world. There isn't a thing in the world that anybody has any shaykhs to rely on for anything. Yeah.
My question is, after this whole beer, so Ule sagt, I don't want to go through this whole experience.
Yeah.
Rabbi Yossi sagt, I don't mind going through the experience, even if I will just have etwas dort und sich anhalten, to be well anhalten, sich auf dem Wedel von dem Chamoy. Der Hillel Pevs hat noch mal gegeben, ich wünsche dir uns, dass sich keine anhalten auf dem Schwanz von dem Chamoy von Mashiach.
This is it. This is their word.
Right? But somehow it's all about me.
Yeah.
That's not what Mashiach is all about. Mashiach has nothing to do with me. And what I mean, Mashiach has nothing to do with me. Mashiach is about his galus and the Kus Dalamata. Was in the game, wo ich will sein, wo will sein?
No, das hat doch der Mashiach gedacht, Megala sein. Das hat doch noch nicht Megala gewähnt in der Zeit von Ule und Rabbi Yosef. Und in der Zeit von dem Marat.
Was sie haben nicht gewusst, was sie haben gemeint, dass Mashiach ist auf a cookie.
Ja, sicher sein.
Obviously, no, that's what I'm it's something which is on my mind. I mean, Eibel will take a Mashiach mitzad by Mashiach. And I think that this is what the Rebbe sagt, dass sein eine, was will Mashiach mit der Nemes. Das habe ich gesagt. So sein eine, was will Mashiach mit der Nemes, wird Mashiach schon angekommen. There's nobody in this world that will Mashiach mit der Nemes.
Because we're still thinking about something that we're going to get out of it.
So in other words, it's not that will mit der Nemes. Einfach die Jiden, was hat verloren, der Mann und die Tochter und die Kinder, noch Kinder, sie will Mashiach mit der Nemes. Aber
will die Emes von Mashiach.
Oh, but the Rebbe sagt, da will Mashiach mit der Nemes, man soll den Emes von Mashiach. Also will Mashiach nicht, weil ich will etwas haben davon, aber whatever Tag it is. Man kann sein, noch viele, wie ich bin alter Rebbe, ich will auch als dich allein. Das ist nicht, was ich will. The meaning for Mashiach is it's not about me. Wherever I'm going to be, that's irrelevant. It's about him. So what's Pshat in was Rabbi Yossi sagt?
Maybe because he knew as they were in a higher madrega, but they knew that this time is going to be people that are not going to be such a high madrega. So they said that it's okay, just like the Rambam says, about the limit of the Torah. First you give money, then first you give candy, then you give this, then you give money, then you give covet, until it's Lishma.
Yeah, but you know what you're saying now? That this galus of Mashiach is also, I'm giving you the candy, I'm giving you the money, I'm giving you this, I'm giving you the cookies. This is what we're having. We're having that. Was mashpi auf der Welt, was tut auf in der Welt, all this is already a chilek for this galus, right? But we're not settling for that.
Sure not. Adrabah, until his galus elikos is b'shleimus, the world is not gonna. It's not. The candies won't be fully good. They're still gonna be. The icing won't be good. There's still gonna be problems. So it's one is connected to the other. In order for the Kashmir world to be fully perfect, there has to be a full galus elikos, I think.
Ich habe schon eine alte Teile. Der Rebbe meint von uns Emes, ja? Sachaki steht nicht in Emes li Yankov. He's the only one who got it. Was will von uns? Will Taka soll sein, Mamisch. Emes ist Schlimmes. Emes is not a 99. Bisrael Jacobs, Mashiach Silas, I heard it from a few times. Sagt Azach, he used to talk like this. Azach, was is 99% Emes. Was ist das? We know when he asks a question, don't answer. We know that. He says, it's 100%ige Sheker. Emes is 100%. It's not 99.99. Is this what he's really expecting from us?
in the Sikha itself, the Rebbe said, even if you yourself don't believe and have trouble, you should still be mefasim to people.
This is what we need to do. Obviously.
Yeah.
So this is what we need to do. Fine. But he's looking for somebody who's willing to start with Tanamis besides himself, right? Obviously, it's not this Mashiach. Mashiach himself will mit Tanamis kommen. Will aber the Mekabel soll nicht mit Tanamis. So he's looking for one guy who's ein Namis. Moshe Rabbeinu couldn't find Sinai Botza. What does he want from us? I guess, kann sein, wie der Rebbe sagt, dass viele als ich meine, es nicht bei dem Mitanemes, soll Gott spielen auf der zweiten, na jene soll es meine Mitanemes. Right?
Isn't there saying Tanya's fast emes tikkun lad? Zayin emes. Everyone has their emes, their level of emes.
Aber but as he said, Chas v'shalom, the Metazach is discouraging. This is not part of the equation. This is not part of the This is not part of the deal. Das kann man nicht tun. Der Alter Rebbe sagt eigentlich schon Tanya. Regiles. Kein Gewinn. Der Munde, we have to train ourselves. Train ourselves to think Mashiach. Train ourselves to think Gouda. Train ourselves to think Rebbe. Train ourselves. Pasha training. It takes training.
Reuven, in your idea, I was thinking if anyone that took complaints to you that someone around him didn't really work, you could tell him the famous story with the hunting dogs, that a fox saw a beautiful bird in a tree, told the bird, come down. The bird said, no, you're going to eat me. So the fox said, no, you don't know Mashiach is here already. And then he heard the dogs coming, the hunting dogs. So as he took off as fast as his feet could take him. So the bird said, I thought Mashiach is here. He said, yeah, but the hint based on
But it's interesting. That's the Chaim Issue Tanya. The Munne is training, Regilus, Hergel. Share with you a nice little story. Since there is a lull here, I'm going to have to go soon. Unfortunately, I have to run to the Vaya. So as far as I'm concerned, the Simon B'Toy Vashena Maisa that I heard this Shvishal Pesach. We are Lipel B'Meni Dova. There's no such thing as the Rebbe Zaktab says Avot. Anyway, this is the Rabbi Rashi from Holland, Rabbi Benjamin Jacobs. He's a Shliach in Holland and the Rabbi Rashi in Holland, chief rabbi of Holland. And he said many years ago, he had to, he needed to develop contacts for his position. And so he went to see somebody for money, for this. I said, look, I'm not going to give you any money, but I'll give you an opportunity to make a lot of money. I'm organizing a trip to Eretz Yisrael. Over there's going to be ministers, there's going to be business people, there's going to be all kinds of important lay and political leaders. I'm inviting you to join. Come, I'll pay for it. You join this trip, and then you'll be able to create all kinds of connections, say political connections, say scholars connections, money connections. Thank you. He asked the Rebbe, should he go? By the way, he said, he writes every month to the Rebbe, and then he asked the question. Now, if you're wondering why can you wait a month? This is Holland. This is prepared 8 months in advance. And you have to give your final answer no later than 5 months in advance. If you come 5 months and a day, it's too late, it's closed already. Holland. So he wrote to the Rebbe, should he go? And the beautiful answer of the Rebbe to go. And he says, Danke, there was tremendous good results that he had from this experience. 2 years later, the guy invites him again. It's a new trip. New politicians, new guys, and etc. Join. You figured the Pashtus, the Rebbe gave a bracha 2 years ago, and it was such a phenomenal success. The Pashtus here, but he asked, no answer. Another month, no answer. 3 months, no answer, and he has to give an answer. And the guy is calling him, find out, Rabbi, are you coming? Are you joining? So he called Binyamin Klein, and he asked him, look, I need to be able to give an answer. I don't have an answer. Should I take it as a no? Then it's a no, but I would still want to know clarity, to be sure that I'm not. He thought maybe because it's Purim, because it is all kinds of reasons that he thought, and he gave all kinds of explanations that he can work out the Purim Mitzvah, he can do everything, he can cover all the bases, he'll come back before Shabbos, all these explanations he gave, there's no answer. Finally, Binyamin says, look, I'm going to put it again on top of the pile, as they used to do sometimes, and we'll see, the Rebbe will answer. Paul the Rebbe answered, and as he said, I don't know the words, but it was loy with the Grois Nalev, not to go. Okay, Rebbe said, notify this person, although he was surprised. He couldn't understand why the Rebbe would say no after it was such a phenomenal success the previous time. Okay. Durchgegangen, 2 Jahre. I think he said 2 years. 2 years later, he gets a phone call from a reporter of the most important newspaper in Holland. Herr Rabbiner, Rabbi, you were at a trip 2 years ago, right? He says, actually, no, I wasn't. He says, oh, I see. Why are you asking? He found out there is an investigation going on about the participants of this trip, because it seemed like they're doing this trip. Someone, a few people bribed some ministers to get special permits, etc. Ons is given public knowledge. Bottom line, he said like this: 3 mayors of different cities were thrown out of their mayorship. I think he said 3 ministers were thrown out of the government. Stell sich vor, if I'm part of this trip, I would not be chief rabbi of Holland. I would not be able to have the position that the Rebbe anticipated for me to have in Holland. 2 years later, the Rebbe said, "Loi." So, I think it's just a beautiful story. That's right. Absolutely, absolutely. As I said before, unfortunately, I'm going to have to excuse myself. I must go to this Levaya. And the Rebbe should help that before we reach the Levaya, all of us, we meet in the Beis Hamikdash. You guys continue, but I must go.
Amen.
Mandy, thank you so much for organizing. Ruven, I just want you to know I reached out already to Schollenberg Baumgarten. He'll do that.
Okay.
Okay, that was actually the phone call I was on before when you were sharing your.
Beautiful.
I'm sorry. Call to. Bye.
Sei gebencht, Koyach.